Welcome to the seasonal podcast. My name's Lane.
And I'm Holden, and on this episode of the podcast, why is my fan so loud? We are talking about Iron Man 2, the second episode of the MCU review. This time, Lane got a chance to review the movie shortly before we recorded.
Yeah, I watched it last night, so...
And I rewatched it. I watched it for a second time and took much more in-depth notes. Problem that we discovered last time, recording both the Iron Man episode and the Phantom Menace episode, was that I did not take specific enough notes for me to know exactly what was going on in a lot of different circumstances. I just kind of wrote down reactions to shit that was happening, and it wasn't good enough. Like, I couldn't remember what some of my reaction comments were about.
Right.
So I just had a ton of reactions that I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. So this time I have a lot more specific
We're
notes.
more prepared.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we recorded the introductions episode and the first two episodes of like the MCU review and the Star Wars retrospective.
Yeah.
All at once. So that happened all in the space of like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else to say other than just starting to kind of get into
let's get into the movie.
I think Iron Man 2 starts off a lot stronger than Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Like this intro, because the beginning of this movie, basically the way that it starts is recapping the first movie, like the very last scene of the first movie.
He has
but
a
it's
press
not...
conference and says he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't reuse the footage, and it doesn't it doesn't reuse the footage and basically do the exact same scene over again. It uses it as a background that is playing on a TV in Russia.
Yeah.
Because this whole beginning before the title card is in Russia. And I thought that this was a pretty good way to at least start off the movie comparatively. There's a lot of dogs barking. I thought it was a creative way to recap the movie without just straight up reusing footage.
Yeah.
Because it worked well enough for me. And it does a very good job of setting up Ivan, or Ivan, I guess is how you would actually pronounce it in Russian. Ivan as an antagonist, because he is the central character in this kind of beginning sequence. And it even shows the bird.
Oh, yeah.
The bird becomes technically important. It's not really important, but it's important in Ivan. But
Yeah.
I thought that this opening was a lot better than the messy editing of the first movie's intro, which can be a little bit messy. I don't know who the fuck that old guy was.
It was his dad.
Was it his dad?
Yes, it was his dad.
Because I wrote down in question, I was like, is it his dad?
And then
I
it
don't
goes
know.
into the whole backstory of how his dad worked for Stark, or for Tony's dad.
Yeah, and
that's how...
I think, isn't that what basically all the newspapers are and stuff?
Essentially,
kind of outlining that. Because a lot of it is in Russian, and admittedly, a lot of it isn't super clear. So if you miss this, like I did, this guy being Ivan's dad doesn't mean jack diddly shit. And Ivan's connection to Tony later doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't make any sense until you realize this. So I think that this wasn't clear enough, but this whole sequence of Ivan is good, especially when he gets out the blueprints for the arc reactor, because I guess that's how he had them, was because his dad worked with Tony's dad. This is some backstory. Ivan's father worked with Howard Stark. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but something about Ivan's father getting deported back to Russia or something like that. And then he had a kid. But so Ivan has these blueprints to build an arc reactor, and he has the expertise to be able to build it like Tony did to fit a small piece. And that's basically what this entire opening credits is just Ivan building this arc reactor.
Yeah. Basically establishing the villain.
Yeah.
I want to say, yeah.
It's a great way to establish a villain in a way that isn't in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Like just starting straight off with him. Because you already know who the fuck Iron Man is based on the first movie. So the point of the second movie is to have a new villain or a new conflict. And that's something that I think this movie does well, which we'll get to in a little bit. I did note that it is a little unclear why Yvonne knows how to make this and why he has the blueprints and stuff. Like I said, I think it's just that if you miss that this guy is Yvonne's dad and that this guy who died in the beginning worked with Howard Stark as Tony's father, if you miss that connection in these first minute of the movie, the whole Yvonne existing as a character doesn't work.
His dad worked for Howard Stark until later in the movie.
Yeah, and so as good as it does to make you see Yvonne as this potential villain in the making at this point in the movie, as the very beginning of it, it is pretty messy at making you understand why the fuck he exists. Like, why does this guy have the expertise to build an arc reactor? Why is he building one? Why does he have the blueprints? Like, none of this makes sense. And I suppose that's kind of the purpose, is so that you figure it out later.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of having the very first scene of a movie like this be just a million questions.
That's understandable, yeah.
That, especially later on, I didn't even get some of these answers until the second watch.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to miss.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, it is what it is, but I do think it overall is better than, the cold open of Iron Man 1. Although, the whole intro sequence of Iron Man becoming Iron Man is very good.
Yeah.
But in this movie, Yvonne becoming the villain who would eventually become Whiplash is decent enough as it is. It's a great way to open the movie besides. But then, after you get the title card, Iron Man 2, and then it turns. We start with Stark.
It starts with all those cheerleaders in Iron Man suit, not Iron Man suits, but wearing the.
He's wearing the Iron Man suit. He starts in a plane and then flies
down and
into
basically
the Stark
a whole
Expo.
Presentation for Stark Expo or whatever he's opening. What was he opening?
I can't remember what it was for. Oh, it was so that he could be his Tony Stark braggadociousness.
Yeah.
About being the reason that world peace has happened.
In his words, he privatized world peace.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what he said. But that's what happens. He flies into the Stark Expo. I mean, I don't know why he has the technology to remove and dismantle a suit right there. I mean, it's for the Stark egotistical flair.
Yeah.
But logistically, it doesn't make sense. You just kind of have to go with it. Tony Stark's a billionaire. He doesn't fucking care. It's just him being, the humbly, with big air quotes around humbly, the humbly egotistical Tony Stark. And that's how he presents the whole thing. He's just I'm not saying that I caused world peace, but I caused world peace.
Yeah. Thank
me and bow before me. It's perfectly Tony Stark. I think we said in the last episode that Robert Downey Jr. sells Stark.
Oh yeah, he plays Tony Stark. The best. I don't think there's anybody else that could have played Tony Stark as well as he did.
Honestly, true. Especially since it's so iconic as a character now. He's just so snarky in the perfect way. And this was also a very great introduction here because he says, I guess what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, is welcome to the Stark Expo. And then he introduces his father, quote unquote, and uses some old film reel that they had to play for the beginning of the Stark Expo. Tony goes off stage,
and it's kind of revealed at that point that his little reactor, right?
Yeah.
In his chest is keeping him alive and killing him.
Yes.
So
it's not exactly revealed here, but he does test his blood toxicity level, and you see blood toxicity 19%. Yeah. And you're just okay, well, what the fuck is this about? Something serious.
Yeah.
I liked this a lot. I said it was a wonderful way to include a new conflict into the second movie, because obviously we have the villain being frameworked in the beginning of this movie, but this is another conflict that exists here, is Tony basically dying because of the plutonium.
Which is very important for the movie with some of his actions.
Yes, that too. The fact that the technology that Tony created to save him is also killing him.
Yeah.
Because, having plutonium, which is a radioactive substance, is not going to be good for you.
Who would have thought?
Who would have fucking thought, right? And then it kind of goes into the more party section of the expo.
Yeah.
And there's this, I don't know, it's probably like a minute-long sequence of first person in Tony.
Oh,
I hated this so much. There's a reason you don't see first person films.
Hardcore Henry was one, and I enjoyed that movie a lot. But
there's only one first person movie that was like a full first person movie that I know of.
Which one?
I don't know the title or anything. I just heard about it.
Well,
and
Hardcore Henry's first person only.
It might be the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what movie I'm thinking of. I just know that I know a couple people who went to watch it and absolutely hated it. Because the reason that first person doesn't work in film format, the reason that we can see and do whatever, is because when we're looking at something, we can see it, and then when we're moving, our eyes are still seeing a combination of what was there and what our destination is, and it cuts out the motion.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why you don't like see everything as your eyes are glazing past stuff. That's why you can miss like a puzzle piece or something in a giant, or just like Legos is probably a better example. That's why when you're looking for one Lego piece, sometimes you can't find it.
Yeah.
Even if you glaze right over it, your vision is cutting out some of that stuff. Film, especially if you have high FPS, does not cut that out. When I do this with my arm in front of the camera, you can see all of that motion.
Yeah.
The reason first person doesn't work super well in film is because of this reason. You can see all of that motion, and it gets very easy to become dizzy and motion sick.
Yeah.
I did not like this first person section because of that. And also islands problems and stuff, like it can curve a lot of the outside and it just looks weird. I did not like the first person in this part of the movie. I don't know why the fuck they did it.
But it does that for a minute, and then he ends up in his car, doesn't he? And then that's where he gets handed a subpoena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gets. I guess that's what it's called. That was a big word. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, he gets handed a subpoena, and then
By,
they crack a little joke there because he's like, "I want to see the badge. Like, show me the badge."
Yeah, and he's hitting on this government woman or whoever the fuck she is. But no, Tony does get handed that subpoena, Sabona, however people pronounce it. I think it can be pronounced different. And this is when he's basically called to the Senate to have a Senate hearing because of the Iron Man suit, which, fair enough.
I mean, yeah, the government, you can't have a high weapon thing like an Iron Man suit.
You can't have anything without the government taking it.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Make of that what you will. But the Senate hearing is so fucking good.
It was a really good court scene.
It is honestly probably the best part of these two movies combined, in my opinion. It is one of the best things. It is hilarious. Tony being his sarcastic fucking self is incredible. I love everything about it, even though goddamn that Senator Stern or whoever the fuck he is.
The main guy on sitting.
Yeah.
Talking. Yeah.
He's such a prick.
Yeah.
But you want to know what? It's a pretty good referendum on Senate hearings.
Yes.
Because I've seen a couple Senate hearings, and goddamn, they are the most pointless fucking things in the world.
Yeah.
Because Stern says, up where, whatever the fuck they call it, he's up there and he says, I'm not a weapons expert, but we'll bring up someone who is. And Tony's just like, well, of course you're not an expert, you're a senator.
Yeah.
And yeah. Right. Supreme Court hearings, not Supreme Court hearings, Senate hearings are absolutely fucking pointless. But this is also when the Senator Stern introduces Hammer.
And Hammer's a prick.
Oh,
I fucking hate Hammer. He's such a...
Hammer is so annoying. Not gonna lie, I was like, as soon as I started watching the movie and it was getting close to the hearing, here in the first like 10 minutes of the movie, I'm sitting watching and I'm just like, do I really want to be watching this again? And I say that because of Hammer.
Yeah.
I hate Hammer so much. I was heavily considering not watching the movie again.
But he plays an important role in the movie, so we have to sit through it.
I know, he plays such an important role. Which is actually foreshadowed extremely well here. Because, so they call Rhodes from the first movie. up to the stand. And side note, tangent, Rhodes' actor is different, which we mentioned in the first episode of this.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle does a good job as Rhodes, but I low-key wish it was the same guy as the first.
Yeah.
I liked the guy's little goatee and mustache.
Well, yeah, but this is the Rhodes everybody loves
because he's been here since Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
But
So
it would have been cool to see the way things would have been different.
for sure.
For sure. And there's actually a point that I'm going to make regarding this a little bit later. But we'll get there. Also, fuck Senator Stern for forcing Rhodes to read a specific section of his own report out of context.
I hate that.
I hate it so much. And you know what sucks even more about it? This is how Senate hearings work.
Yeah.
This is how a lot of things work when it comes to legal systems.
You take things out of context.
Unfortunately.
To prove your case.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shitty thing, but
that's how prosecution works.
Yeah.
Is especially if you're trying to prosecute somebody who you know is innocent. Because sometimes some people are trying to prosecute people who they know are innocent. And when you do that, you are specifically taking everything out of context to try to get that person prosecuted. This is what the senator does. He calls Rhodes to the stand because Rhodes does a report on Iron Man and forces Rhodes to read a single, 2-sentence paragraph out of an entire report. Just that one small paragraph that Rhodes says, as he is, Iron Man poses a threat, blah, blah, blah.
He did try to save it by, trying to continue talking, but the senator, of course, spoke over him and said that was enough.
And it's like, you gotta feel for Rhodes because he does have a loyalty to Stark as well as the U.S., the military and whatnot. You gotta at least respect it, and I really respect it because Rhodes was like, that's not okay to make me read this these couple sentences out of context of the entire report. Because he knew that what he was going to read was damning for Tony.
Yeah.
Out of context. And man, it sucks. Everybody knows that's a fucked up way to display information is to rig it that way. But either way, the senator, after reading this, or having this read, rather, has a screen come up so that they can show...
Well, the argument is they need the weapon because other countries are going to start making their own weapons.
Yes.
Which leads to Tony hacking it. Because they were just going to show pictures of, the robots or whatnot.
Yeah, the robots from the other countries, these failed attempts. So it's just this is dangerous technology because other people are trying to imitate it.
Yeah, but then Tony hacks it and shows that they're 5, maybe 10 years away from actually being able to do anything with it.
Yeah, and one of the videos is actually Hammer himself.
I feel bad for the guy in that suit. The way that back.
Yeah, I mean, but it revealed that Hammer is involved, which is great foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And funny, especially as Hammer is trying to, turn off the TV and unplug it and whatnot. It's just like, hey, Hammer, you're on the TV.
It's kind of funny how long it takes him to unplug that TV.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't. It's a fucking cord, dude. Pull the cord.
I mean, I think he was just trying to find it, but either way,
it's a TV. You should be able to find the cord.
And then Hammer's only defense is, for the record, that guy in the suit was okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Fuck you, Hammer. God, I hate this guy. But it was such a great scene. I love the Senate hearing so fucking much.
It was good.
It is so good. And it's hilarious. And then the senator tries to be like, well, fuck you for doing that. And then Tony's just like, you want my shit? You can't have it.
You can't have it.
Fuck you. Thank me for privatizing world peace. And then he walks out of the hearing. And the senator's just like, fuck you, Tony. Fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Real unprofessional for a senator, but...
Yeah.
Who am I to judge? I say fuck a lot on a podcast. Whatever. But it is also a great way to get back into Russia, because similar to how the very beginning of the movie showed the end of Iron Man 1 happening on a TV in Russia with Yvonne, this goes back to as Tony is walking back down the row of the Senate hearing, that's then projected onto a TV in Russia.
Yeah, and
that Yvonne is Russian. watching.
Here we see him actually finish his like electric whips, I guess.
Yeah. Electric whips that are powered by an arc reactor.
Yeah.
Which obscenely dangerous.
Looks badass though.
It looks super badass, and it's really cool as well because it's like this is actually low-key terrifying. I thought it was a very great way to introduce a villain early on that was different from Obadiah in the first movie. Because in the first movie, your initial antagonists were the people who were keeping Tony holed up in the Middle East.
Right. And we didn't know it was
the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, you don't have an antagonist, except that Tony is dying.
Yeah.
And then you have Yvonne. So introducing Yvonne early was a very good call here. Because otherwise you're having to spend too much time explicitly setting him up later. So I thought that this was perfect. Especially using the TV and whatnot, because this shit would be on the news. It's realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, this is exactly what I was just saying. Like, I'm very glad that Yvonne is not an Iron Man ripoff, but he still uses the arc reactor technology to be able to confront Tony in a significant manner.
Oh yeah, he fucking throws Tony around.
Like, he does later, because it allows him to be something different. Like, it's very great new antagonists for the sequel, just right off the bat. Just the fact that Tony is dying, and then you have Yvonne, who is now Whiplash, since he has these whips.
Yeah.
Underrated villain, by the way. I don't know if I hear many people talking about Whiplash. As far as I understand, I'm pretty sure he's a pretty unpopular one. That he was pointless.
He's not talked about a whole lot, from what I know.
And based on this movie, I think he's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I may be slightly biased because I am teaching myself Russian.
I mean...
And Yvonne is cool. And he's low-key funny in some instances with Hammer. He acts really stupid with Hammer.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was...
Because remember later, he speaks with Tony. And he's speaking pretty good English. But then when he's speaking with Hammer, he's using purposely very broken English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. Anyway, after this hearing, Tony goes back to the garage, which is a familiar location. Then he snaps and has the computer system all turn on. She's like, "Wake up, Jarvis!" Yeah. And then all of that is happening. And I think this was one of the things that I noticed on your notes. Insults robot.
He's always insulting that damn robot.
It works so perfectly with the first movie, too, because he screams at the robot. He doesn't scream, but he insults the robots in the first movie so many times, and one of the times is just like, "I swear to God, if you fire extinguish me one more time and I'm not on fire, I'm going to donate you to college." In this movie, one of the robots more or less immediately just spills his coffee and just fucks everything up as soon as he gets back into the garage. And he's, I can't remember exactly what he says. Good grief. I thought I had written it down. I swear I thought I had written it down. Damn it. I can't remember what he says, but he insults. Oh, he threatens to turn the robot into a wine rack.
Yeah.
He threatens to dismantle the robot, take its motherboard, and turn it into a wine rack. And, like, it's funny. Like, it's legitimately funny. I love the way that Tony insults these robots, but man, these robots are so sad. But it is perfectly in tune with the first movie, so good on that one, yeah. And then this is when it's really introduced that the palladium core in his chest is killing him.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That's radioactive material sitting in his goddamn chest. And then you have the argument between Tony and Pepper about the art collection and donating it to the goddamn Boy Scouts.
Oh yeah. And then they argue for a little bit, and then he eventually makes her CEO of the company.
Yeah, and one of Tony's comments specifically in this argument, right before he gives CEO leadership to Pepper, that I thought was really funny, was because of Pepper was bringing up all these different arguments and things that she was really concerned about. And Tony at one point says, "I don't care about the liberal agenda anymore." And then he gives it to her because he does not care enough to be part of this. And I'm like, That is weirdly poignant. It's very funny though, because basically he refuses to be leader of Stark Industries anymore, and he gives Pepper CEO, which is a pretty crazy thing to do. But
I'm surprised no one picked up on the hint that he was dying with how he was acting.
honestly, yeah,
It was kind of shocking.
well, I mean, Nick Fury knew.
Well, yeah, but Nick
But
Fury
that's
knows
fucking
everything.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury knows everything. I'm surprised no one else like picked up that he might be dying or doing something like.
Yes,
Because like no one,
and
is
even Pepper,
normal.
because she's like silent when he does this. She's like gobsmacked,
Yeah,
and she's just like, and then she sits down onto one of the chairs, and he's just like, I was trying to find a worthy successor, and it turns out it was you. I thought there would be legal problems, but turns out I can choose anybody. And I'm like, it's a good thing that you point that out, because I didn't even think about it.
well, yeah, but it's like he
I
does
mean,
that.
but then again, I know that he's dying already.
Right,
Nobody else does, but
right. One, it's just everything he does throughout the movie, like racing, when he's never, he's not like a professional
yes,
driver, or,
He is-
I don't know what it's called, but
he's doing the full ass. If you had a week to live, what would you do?
and he's
that's
just
what
doing
this
whatever the
motherfucker's
fuck he
doing.
feels like doing. And
Yeah, exactly. And after he does this, we get into the scene where you introduce Natasha Romanoff as Natalie Rushman.
yeah, Natalie Rushman,
Yeah,
or Black Widow.
yeah, or Black Widow, and
But we don't
Yeah.
really see her as Black Widow until like I think the Avenger movie. But
maybe. I mean, you see her as a badass in this movie.
oh yeah,
She's not
She plays
introduced
a-
quite as one yet,
no,
because she walks in with Pepper, because this is when Pepper is trying to get Stark to sign her the company.
yeah,
I promise, Mr. Stark, this is the only time I'm going to ask you to sign away your company. Because Stark is training with Happy in the ring.
yeah.
I didn't realize that Happy was in the movies as early as Iron Man 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
Because I didn't consciously recognize him as
kind
a
of like
character.
Tony's like right hand man,
Yeah.
and then I mean, kind of becomes like Spider-Man's right hand man after
Yeah,
Tony
I didn't-
after Endgame. So,
I didn't notice his character really until Spider-Man Homecoming when I watched that in theaters, because he
Oh.
plays a pretty big part.
yeah,
So seeing him in these movies, I didn't even realize that he existed. Because
fair enough.
because I'd only ever watched Iron Man once before, and I don't remember if he's in Iron Man. He might be. If he is, it's very brief.
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is, but I think it's very brief.
I can't remember.
He's definitely not in it to the extent he is in this one,
No.
since he's now Iron Man.
Yeah.
In this one. But you introduce Natalie Rushman / Natasha Romanoff, and her being secretly part of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's definitely a reveal waiting to happen, especially when Tony Stark tells Happy to give her a lesson in boxing, and she just completely kicks his ass.
Yeah, like no issues whatsoever, and
Rule number 1: never take your
just takes him down like no problem.
basically. So it's a reveal waiting to happen, basically after the end credits of the first movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first movie had a little bit of S.H.I.E.L.D. in it as well, with Agent Coulson or whatever the fuck his name is. But it's not like explicitly like a part of the narrative yet in the first movie. But
Right.
S.H.I.E.L.D. becomes a bigger thing in this one for sure. After signing away the company, basically. Oh, and I just gotta say, Tony's fucking banter. I want one, referring to Natalie.
Yeah.
Fucking Tony. You
I was just going like, no.
It's such a bad way to say it, but like it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I need her. No, you do not. You want to know who that is? That is a potentially expensive sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen, and it's so funny. Then this is when the vacation to Europe happens. I guess one of Tony's last vacations. I guess he's taking this because he's dying.
Yeah, I guess.
And
so.
I guess he's also using it as a part celebration for Pepper becoming CEO, maybe to an extent.
Yeah, and
But
then
he's also using it as a vacation. This was not super clear. This is another thing that's a little bit messy. This was not super clear that it was a vacation. Like, just all of a sudden he's in Europe and you don't know why, what the purpose is. You don't get the purpose until a throwaway line / joke that Stark makes later. Like,
Oh.
like so much for my first vacation in 10 years or something like that. And it's until that line, you don't realize what the fuck this is. You're just like, well, why are they in fucking Europe? Why are they watching a race? What the fuck is going on? And especially, even if this is a vacation or whatnot, even with paparazzi and stuff, you gotta explain why the fuck that Vanity Fair reporter lady that he slept with in the first 10 minutes of the first Iron Man movie is there, and why Hammer is there. Why are these people there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if it's a vacation, why are these people here? Why do they know that they're going there? If this is a celebration for or Pepper becoming CEO, maybe, but why is Hammer there? Like, I mean, Hammer was trying to get a hold of Tony to make an appearance at the expo, so that's a fair explanation, but why does he know where this is? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things about this whole scene in this. I think it's in France, because I think one part of it says Paris, but it makes more sense to be Italy because this looks like that track that's in Italy.
Yeah, it's in some European country.
But the language sounds, I can't tell if it sounds more like French or Italian because I can't tell the difference by ear too well. I don't know. It's someplace in Europe, but it's this whole sequence in this spot, this whole scene, it has a lot of messiness to it, which I'll explain a little bit later. But then here Tony goes into the bathroom and checks his blood toxicity level again, and it's already at like 54 goddamn %.
It's killing him,
which is like 30% higher than it was in his garage when he checked it.
Yeah.
With Jarvis. When the reveal is that the core is what's killing him. So it's really bad. And I always question for a minute, like, why the fuck did he just randomly decide to race? Like, what the fuck is this shit about? It's because he's dying and he wants to do a bunch of random shit, but again, this isn't super clear.
If you're gonna die soon, you're gonna do some stupid shit.
Yeah, so
I mean,
although it slightly doesn't make sense because, like, excuse me. Oh, did you kick the stand?
A little bit. That's all good. All right,
that's fine. Whatever. What was I thinking? Oh, it's basically just him lashing out.
Yeah.
But this is also a little bit messy without explanation because how the hell did he get time to find the clothing to dress? Or to find the clothing to be able to race, to dress, and to be able to get to the starting point of the race or wherever without anybody noticing? That would be like a minimum of 15 minutes. Like, realistically.
Well,
even if like the world's most well-known billionaire were to walk up to somebody and be like, I want a racing suit to go be the American contestant in this race, it's still going to take a few minutes. Like,
yeah,
Pepper's not going to be waiting at that corner table in the restaurant for that fucking long without him there and not notice. Natalie didn't notice.
Yeah.
Like, none of these people, and because Stark had left in the middle of the Vanity Fair lady and Hammer trying to talk to him, like, they're gonna notice.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I'm not gonna make too much of a fuss about it, but it definitely is a little bit weird. But it is again, it's just a random line that feels almost throwaway that kind of reveals why Tony does this. I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's what he says right before it reveals that he's racing in the race.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember the line either, but there are a couple points in the scene where it feels like random throwaway lines explain them. And it's like, okay, but when everything in your dialogue is super snappy, you can't just have Tony throw away a snappy dialogue line that explains the purpose of the whole scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, the whole the sequence on the track is still fucking cool regardless. As much as I have a problem with it not making sense that he goes out there as quick as he does, but...
So he starts racing, and then that's where we get to see...
Yeah, that Whiplash is here. This is another... How the fuck is Whiplash here? How does he know?
That's one thing that didn't make sense to me.
Even if this is a CEO thing for Pepper, but especially if this is just a vacation for Stark, why the fuck is Whiplash here?
Yeah, it's like, how does he know that Tony Stark's going to be there?
Yeah, like, he shouldn't know.
Yeah. So,
like, none of these people should know. This is stuff that isn't explained properly.
I'm sure they just had to carry it along.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool spectacle and stuff, but there's definitely a lot of questions that rightfully deserve to be asked.
Yeah.
With some of this stuff, like a lot of it doesn't make sense.
But we get our introduction to Whiplash, and he, destroys a couple cars, and his little whips go right through the cars.
Yeah.
The minute he hits them, and then, is that when Pepper decides to, Tony probably needs a suit because this fucking guy's on the track destroying these cars?
I'm pretty sure she went to rush to get Happy to get the suit out to him like the moment that she saw that he was on the track. I don't even know if Whiplash had gotten onto the track yet.
Well, either way, I just know they're now in a rush to get Tony his suits.
Yeah, because they're like, this is going to be bad. Let's get him his suit just in case something happens.
Yeah.
It was a great way to showcase the danger of Whiplash by just straight going through the cars and causing a massive fucking wreck. He's low-key terrifying in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a really
he
good
is.
villain.
Especially since, the scary Russian guy is kind of a stereotypical enemy. He's not like a huge bulky guy, but still pretty scary when you have somebody with an arc reactor. Especially since Tony's whole argument at the Senate hearing was, this is like 10, 15 years away. Yeah. Nobody's going to be able to develop this technology. Well, Yvonne did because his dad was Tony's dad's partner.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But, and then, he attacks Tony's car, and then Tony does his best to stay out of danger for the short period of time until Pepper shows up.
Yeah, and then they run Whiplash right into the wall.
Yeah, and it's funny. I thought the argument between Tony and Pepper was pretty funny.
Oh, it's so funny because she's just screaming at him. He's just like, better security budget. That's all he is saying is better security budget. It's really funny.
And then, so he finally gets the suit, and it's surprising how long it takes for the suit to actually get on him. I'm glad, Happy was there to hit Whiplash with the car.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if Tony had the suit...
Because it takes a solid 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But I think the reason it takes that long is because it's just meant to be a cool movie showcase. Because he stomps onto this suitcase to open it up and sticks his hands in it, brings the whole suit up basically, puts it onto his chest, and then brings it out and it wraps around.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is cool.
Like, it's cool. It's fine.
And then he pushes the car out of the way, pushes Pepper and Happy out of the way, and then he ends up fighting Whiplash.
And they brawl, and he gets his whip around him, and it's fucking up his suit.
Oh, it is. He was able to, I think, just kind of...
He wrapped the whip around him more, and then punched him in the face a couple times and got him on the ground, and then pulled the arc reactor off his chest.
I gotta tell you, the fight scenes did not last long in this movie. This fight or the final fight, like with Whiplash, it did not last long. He was taken out fairly easily both times.
True. I guess that is a good point that I never considered.
But
then again, if you think about it, the whip itself didn't really do a whole lot to hurt Iron Man's suit.
No, it damaged it quite a bit.
Like, it's damaging the suit, but it's not like...
Yeah.
It's not straight up killing him or anything like that. So, a little bit easier to commandeer, but it's fine. But this is kind of where you realize that the Senate hearing did kind of make a good point. Even if you don't like Hammer or the Senator or anything, there is a good point to be made here that Iron Man solely existing is a great case for both what happened in movie 1 and movie 2.
Yeah. That
these are issues that the Marvel movies actually bring up quite frequently. What good are superheroes if all that they're doing is attracting supervillains? Right. Because bad guys exist. But throughout the Marvel movies, the super big baddies only show up because the super big goodies exist. This is why the Avengers, I mean, I guess this is kind of spoilery to an extent, but this is why the Avengers kind of sort of get dispatched after Age of Ultron, and by the time Captain America's Civil War starts,
halfway through Age of Ultron, they have to go into exile.
Yeah,
for a bit. And then they're split up, which leads into the Civil War, and then Infinity War, where they're still split up.
But the whole reason that a lot of especially Phase 3 happens,
Yeah.
is because the Avengers are put into exile and basically told you're not allowed to be superheroes because you being superheroes is attracting supervillains.
And people have
and that's a good point.
Yeah.
If you want to be upset about that, more power to you, because fair enough. I mean, this is kind of the whole reason why some people argue against America involving itself in foreign wars.
That's fair.
These wars are going to exist anyway. It's not necessarily our duty to
stop them.
Yeah, it's not necessarily our duty to stop them or to quote unquote spread democracy to all these countries when as soon as we leave, they're going to go back to that same old shit anyway.
Yeah.
Like, this is quite honestly one of the best arguments for isolationism is why are we involving ourselves if they're just going to go right back to it if we leave, or if we have to stay there the entire time for it to be good. And there are arguments for both. Yeah. This is basically the argument that the Senate hearing was making. What good are you existing with your suit if other people are now trying to build this technology? We need this technology to be able to expand upon it and keep others from being able to use it in a bad way. Yeah. And very good commentary on what government in general tries to do.
Yeah. Well, and the Senate uses this incident to fully push that we need the Iron Man suit. Do they end up getting it? I know Rhodes takes it to the military base later in the movie.
Yeah, that's later.
But I don't know if they act like if the government now fully has Iron Man suits or if Rhodes just kind of...
I think it was just Rhodes.
Yeah. But the Senate, either way, throughout the movie...
like the background commentary on it.
They basically want the suit now. Like, it's not a matter of question or debate anymore.
It's not a matter of...
This technology exists, other people have it, so now we need it.
Yeah, especially after this scene. Because this is the argument that, like, Rhodes makes when he comes into Tony's garage a little bit later is, it's not the same question anymore, Tony.
It's not
This isn't theoretical. This isn't hypothetical. This isn't 10 to 15 years, like you said in the Senate. Yeah. Somebody had this technology yesterday. Good point. Yeah. I mean, it really is. And it's very great to reveal how dangerous Ivan is in this circumstance in his own way, because he does have the knowledge and the ability to make the arc reactor. Granted, he's a one-off circumstance because he had the blueprints. Right. From his father.
But that doesn't matter
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And, Tony makes a good point after they detain him. Because, and this is another point I'm going to make, after this shit, even with Yvonne having nothing on his person, there's no fucking way no police force is letting Tony into that cell with him by himself. Even with cameras and with Yvonne having nothing on his person, they're not letting Tony in there with him without guards. Well, and then inside the cell, Tony just gives him fucking suggestions.
Yeah,
it basically criticizes
his work,
the design that he did for the arc reactor, telling him how to make it better.
Yeah.
Sick move, Tony. You're fucking stupid. But then again, he was just being naive, thinking, oh, but where are you going to watch me from? Oh, that's right, a prison cell. Yeah. So Tony assumes that he's never coming out of prison again, which, another dumb idea, but still.
And as Tony's leaving that cell, he says...
Oh yeah, polonium in the heart is
painful way to go.
And Tony's just like, how the fuck do you know this shit? And it's like, you know what? Obviously he would. If he's smart enough to be able to, or good enough to be able to build an arc reactor, it makes sense for him to know that. Yeah. Or at least to be able to guess it, if nothing else.
He talks to him in the cell, and then don't they take a plane back to America? Yeah, Pepper Potts is all pissed off at Tony now.
Yeah, she is so pissed at him.
She's pissed off at him throughout the rest of the movie, up until the end.
She's pissed at him through the rest of the fucking series that she's in.
Yeah. It's amazing that they were able to make the relationship work out.
Well, that's kind of the joke, because they kind of don't. And Tony even jokes about that later. I'm in a kind of stable relationship-ish. But... there's no way also, because at this point, this is when Hammer gets Ivan broken out of prison.
Which, I thought
He's
about this.
not goddamn crafty enough.
No, but
Hammer is not.
he might have enough power to pull at some strings
Yeah,
to let that happen.
and that's basically what he did.
Yeah. Highly illegal, I can imagine.
Oh
right?
yes, like
huge. If that would have gotten
goddamn
discovered, like
illegal.
it wouldn't have just been on him; it would have been on the U.S.
Like that would have been on Joe. Yeah, that would have been a really bad situation. But even then, like, I just can't believe that Hammer is crafty enough to be able to make this plan.
Plot armor. He has to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he does, yes, but goddamn Hammers. And the reason I say he's not so crafty is because he's fucking stupid.
Oh yeah,
he's a dumb fuck.
He is.
Like, it's a serviceable way to break Ivan out of prison, but it does feel a little bit contrived to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't. Even Hammer, even using the explanation that Hammer would have the power to be able to cause it to happen or to allow it to happen, it's still messy. Like, it's just hard to believe that Hammer has in any way the intelligence to be able to put this together. I mean, he's probably smarter than he makes himself seem, but goddamn, he is stupid.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, Hammer breaks.
Like, Hammer straight up says, the only difference between you and I is that I have the resources.
And it's like,
no, Hammer, the difference between you and Yvonne is that Yvonne is intelligent and has goddamn balls.
True.
You're fucking stupid. So,
but,
whatever.
Yeah, so he breaks him out. He essentially wants Yvonne to make him a suit, the Iron Man suit. And,
I mean, it's
Yvonne,
similar
of course,
to Obadia wanting.
Agrees to it. Of course, he's not going to do
it.
He has his own plans. But...
I mean, it's kind of similar to how Tony Stark in the beginning of the first movie agrees to build the missile, but doesn't.
Yeah. So, very similar.
Similar theme, but... And I wish I knew more Russian so that I could understand what Yvonne says to him in Russian. The only word in his little spiel that I recognized him say was Mushina, which means man in Russia. And it's when Yvonne then repeats after that in English, very good man. Or whatever to Hammer, like agreeing, quote unquote. Yeah. I just wish I knew more Russian so that I could understand more of what Yvonne says in different points. Because it is fun to listen to that I don't remember.
So Hammer breaks Yvonne out of jail, but then at the same time, Tony's heading back to America, but doesn't want to. Tries to talk Pepper Potts into going to
some other place in like Italy or where.
And she's like,
or Venice, Venice, Italy.
And she's like, it's not the time. Like, do you not just realize what happened? We have to get back and like kind of deal with this. And Tony, of course, dying is like, who cares?
Fair enough, because Pepper's obviously the CEO now, and he is worrying about the company similar to the way that Obadia was concerned about the company in the first movie, but Obadia was concerned for totally different reasons.
Right.
But yeah, that happens. And this is when Rhodes comes into the house, and Natalie and Pepper are on the phone. And Rhodes comes into the house. She's like, where is he? And Natalie, she's like, he doesn't want to be and Pepper's like, he's downstairs.
Yeah.
So Rhodes goes downstairs, and this is when Rhodes figures out that he's basically dying, but not. Like, he doesn't realize that Tony's dying, but
he knows something's wrong.
He knows that the palladium, I totally just forgot the word. Is it palladium?
Palladium.
Yeah, something like that. With the cores in his chest piece and his arc reactor are like being extremely damaged because the neutron damage from the reactor wall is how Tony explains it, which if you put 2 and 2 together, it makes sense why that would start to kill Tony. Like, if that's what it's doing to the cores, what is it doing to Tony?
Yeah,
it's fucking killing him. But it's nice to see here that Rhodes legitimately has concern for Tony, despite his loyalties to the United States government and the military.
Yeah.
Because they were friends, it's nice to see that he still has concern for Tony, even if he has other loyalties.
Yeah.
Because in this, Tony is far too self-reserved in this scene. Like, he just refuses to tell anybody, which, fair enough. How are you about to tell everybody that you're about to die? or that your technology is killing you. And then you have a new scene that is Hammer bringing Yvonne back to his facility, and Yvonne just breaks right into the firewalls and everything. And the
Like,
computers is
software
shit.
Yeah.
Is basically what he says, because he says something in Russian. And Hammer's just like, huh? And he's like, software shit. Because of course anyone with extreme expertise in computer technology can get through what other people assume to be great.
Yeah.
Great security, but it's super funny. She's like, software shit. He's just like, okay, I guess I'll have to fix the software then, huh? And see, like I said, these are two like real short scenes. This is when you go back to right before Tony has his party.
Yeah.
Because Natalie comes in and is bringing him drinks. And he basically asks her, what would you do if this was the last birthday party that you're going to have?
And she says, I do whatever I want with whoever I want to do it with.
Yeah. And then she leaves. And so Tony's just like, because right before this, he's just like, I should probably cancel this. And Natalie's like, yep. And then he's like...
Well, because it looks very unprofessional. There's like a terrorist attack, basically. And then, a couple days later, you're throwing a fucking party. I mean...
Yeah, and,
it's not a good look.
But... Yeah. And then he's just like, fuck it, it's my last birthday. I'm just gonna fucking do the party.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to make Tony reflect and contemplate. And then he gets drunk in the Iron Man suit and is throwing the party, and it's just fantastically awkward as fuck. Like, I cannot imagine how awkward that would be.
So he's pretty drunk, talking. Pepper tries to put a stop to it.
And then Tony's just like, you're right, that's the end of the party. But the after party starts in 15 minutes. And Pepper's just like...
It's like, oh, shit.
And because of this, because Rhodes was telling Pepper, he's just like, you got to shut this down or I will.
Yeah.
And then Rhodes goes down into the garage and gets the original silver Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And very great way to go back to what happened in the first movie, because near the end of the first movie, Rhodes at one point he looks at the silver suit, he's just like, maybe next time.
Yeah.
And then he goes out. Perfect way to bring this back, because now Rhodes, even though it's a different actor, goes down and uses the suit. And then with the party, and when Tony's using his suit to blow like watermelons and shit out of the air, Rhodes just like, I'm only going to say this once.
Get out.
Get out. And everybody just runs out.
And then they end up, Tony tells the DJ to play something so he can beat his buddy's ass.
Put on a sick beat for me to beat my buddy's ass. And then he starts laughing in the middle of it. And they fight, and, nothing like being a fucking billionaire to be willing to destroy your goddamn expensive house.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's...
So they fight, and it ends with Rhodes basically flying off.
Yes, but important... The way that the fight ends is they end up back into that the main area again after fighting through the entire fucking house.
Yeah.
And then everybody's behind that window, that circular window on the outside.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tony then screams at him.
Yeah.
And they all run away.
And then they all run away.
And then Tony and Rhodes do that. They
do the hand thing where they're both shooting the beam and it just causes a big explosion.
Which is important for the end of the movie.
Yes,
But, so they do that, and then Rhodes flies off to take the suit to the military camp.
Yep.
And,
it's a dumb move that he apologizes for later.
Yeah.
Because he realizes the mistake later. But, I mean, he was under contract, basically, to get the technology to the military.
Yeah. And then Tony, the next day, as he's trying to sober up, is sitting in the donut shop, like the actual donut, eating.
Yeah, and
in the Iron Man suit.
And then Nick Fury comes, just like, I'm going to have to ask you to exit the donut.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson. He's one of the best part of almost any movie he's so great.
And then they sit down inside the shop and have
a fantastic argument.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson, when he's in an argument, is so funny. Like, he's
he
such
really
a goddamn good actor. He's one of my favorites. But it's a scene where Fury tells Tony that he hasn't tried all the combinations and permutations of every known element because somehow he knows about the core and that it's killing him. And Tony's just like, listen, I know it's fucking killing me, okay? I've tried every combination and every permutation of every known element. And then Fury's just like, bitch, no, you have not. I'm here to tell you, you have more. And Tony's just like, excuse me?
And then he finds out that Natalie is
an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Yeah, so, and she walks up and he's just like, you're fired. And she's like, that's not up to you anymore.
Yeah.
It's really funny, but it is a great, this is a decent setup for one of the most memorable sequences later on.
Yeah.
When he actually discovered, yeah. So, and then we kind of go back to Yvonne in the Hammer facility. And
he's making drones.
He's turning the suits that Hammer wanted made into suits.
Actual suits, but he's turning them into drones.
He's turning them into drones and putting a head on. And it's just like, I hate the way they talk down to fucking Yvonne. Like, it's just so annoying to me. And I mean, Yvonne's speaking in broken English, presumably on purpose to Hammer anyway.
Yeah.
But man, they act like, this isn't a helmet, man. Like, see, try to put this on. Like, see, he can't put it on. This, I need helmets. Yeah. And then Yvonne just responds, drone better.
Yeah, drone better.
And he uses Yvonne's words against him at this point. Because earlier, this is when Hammer had brought Yvonne his bird from Russia. So like I said at the very beginning, Yvonne has a bird. Hammer gets a similar bird, but it's not the same bird. And he's just like, you just gotta learn to let go, man. I got you the bird, just okay. And then God, it's so annoying. And then when Hammer's freaking out about the drone, and then Yvonne's just like, you need to just let go.
Yeah, you just need to learn to let go.
It is, you know, perfectly. But especially because the way that he's belittling and talking down to Yvonne, and the way that he's complaining, his nasally complaining voice is so grating.
Oh, yeah. No, it's annoying as fuck.
God, I just love to hate Hammer. Because he's so annoying. And then this is also at the same time when it is revealed that the military is also working with Hammer. Because at this point, this is when Rhodes is actually flying to the military station.
Yeah. So they bring it into the military station, and Hammer shows up to, you know, talk to him about equipment, like the weapons that they want to put on it. And
yeah, well, because the general... Because a little bit before this, the general comes to see the suit from Rhodes. He's just like, okay, well, we're bringing in Hammer now to come look at stuff that we can do with this. And Rhodes tries to resist.
Yeah.
Because he realizes that Hammer isn't good from the Senate hearing. But then the general is just like, nope, that's an order, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much.
But then later, this is when Hammer shows up and takes all the weapons, and these two are just like stone-faced and... Hammer's so annoying. But yeah, that all happens, and I didn't realize the importance of the scene. Like, I didn't even note it down because I thought that it was just so random, and then I realized that it's what happens later on at the very end.
Right.
Yeah, so, but either way, the military is working with Hammer, and Hammer is working with Yvonne, but the military doesn't know that Yvonne's still alive.
Yeah.
They think he's dead. So, and then this is when I finally realized and made the connection. Careful, I don't want any of this to come unplugged. Sorry. This is when I finally made the connection that Yvonne is the son of one of Tony's father's partners at one point.
Yeah.
This is when I finally made that connection. I was like, it definitely takes a lot of time to get this out. I mean, it says so earlier in the garage because earlier, after being attacked by Yvonne, Tony in the garage before Rhodes comes down has Jarvis looking up Yvonne and his father.
Yeah.
But it's still not clear enough at that point that I connected it. It's at this point.
Well, it only gave background to Yvonne. He was a physicist who sold, what was it, like weapons to other countries or something?
Like palladium or something to other countries and whatnot. So, and that he had served 15 years in prison or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely think they could have done a better job making it clear the connection between Yvonne's father and Tony's father or the connection between Yvonne and Tony. Because it suggests earlier the way that Tony talks to Stark in the prison cell, that there's some connection there. That because Yvonne says like my father is the reason you're still alive, or something like that. They give hints. Yeah, they give a lot of hints, but I don't know. They feel disjointed enough that it took me long after the fact on my second watch before I finally made the connections. So it's a little bit messy, but
it's all right.
And even then, it was actually the scene with Fury and Stark in the donut shop that really revealed it, because after they go back to Tony's home and they're talking in the
and Tony's on lockdown.
Yeah, and Tony's on lockdown, and that's basically when Fury says it. That's when it finally really clicked.
Yeah.
It just takes way too long for it to really click. Whatever. Either way. It's fine, but it's still messy. It does, and that's why I said, which then also explains why Yvonne knows the arc reactor tech and the blueprints in the intro.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are plenty of things that line it up, but it just didn't click for me. So I don't know if that's a problem with the way that they tried to line it up in the movie, or it's just me being stupid, but I don't know. It could have been clearer, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But then this is also when, since remember that Nick said to Stark, well, I'm here to tell you that you haven't tried them all. Tony's trying to go through all the shit from his father, all of these old films and stuff, that to see if there's something that his father left him that he should know about.
He doesn't end up finding anything there, but then when he goes to talk to Pepper,
no, because one of the films is Stark's father basically talking to him.
Yeah.
You're too young to understand this now, so I figured I would put on a recording. This felt really contrived to me. This felt really Deus Ex Machina.
No, yeah.
This felt really okay, well, we need Tony to figure out how to do this somehow in his home, so let's just make it from his father, I guess. So,
yeah.
It's not super clear or anything like that, but it definitely feels really contrived to make this how Tony figures it out, more or less. And then Tony goes to see Pepper, even though previously the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys had said that he was on lockdown and that he could not leave the house, and that Agent Coleman, or whatever his name is, could do anything he wanted to make sure that Tony didn't leave premises. And then Tony just leaves premises.
Leaves, picks up strawberries, even though Pepper's allergic to them.
Yeah.
And it takes him to Pepper to talk to her. And
yeah, so he gets to the office. And it's not until after he gets back when Coleman comes back and it's just I heard you broke perimeter.
Yeah.
And it was why are you making this such a not big deal when you made it into a big deal that you could kill him over 15 minutes ago? What? Whatever. It's plot.
Yeah, it's for the plot.
It's plot reasons, but let's see.
But Tony sees the what was it,
the I don't know, I keep wanting to call it a table. It's the display.
It's the display of the Stark Expo, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And it's actually an arc reactor. Tony realizes it, so he drives home with that in his seat.
After this whole conversation with Pepper and whatnot. Let's see.
He ends up figuring it out, and this is where we see Tony start building this thing to make a new element.
Yes, this is when a lot of the futuristic tech comes in that I was mentioning in the first episode of the MCU review.
Yeah.
This is what I loved about the tech. This was a standout scene, when he tells Jarvis to make a scan of it, and then he pulls different stuff out. It's just remove all the trees and shrubbery and the roads and stuff, and then he condenses it all and basically discovers/rediscovers a new element. Although it seems a little bit weird that Stark would build this display that could maybe in the future be used with technology to rediscover an element that he discovered, instead of just announcing that he discovered. There's a lot of things that you're just okay, I'm just going to have to refuse to believe that this is how Stark would have done it, but okay.
Yeah.
But even though it's absolutely absurd and unbelievable.
Well,
it is still
maybe he
a
didn't have
very
the technology to make that element.
Well, no, of course he didn't have the tech, because he said that in the film. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't have the tech to do this. Like, I'm limited by the technology of my time. But the fact that like he didn't like try to say anything about it, or that he would, of all things, hide it into this display that could just be thrown away or something, like,
Yeah,
it's
that makes sense.
there's a lot of things about it that are just like, really? Even though the sequence of Tony actually discovering the element is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it really is awesome. Let's see.
And so then we get to see Tony build it, and it's like this big circle thing that has the,
Yes, because Jarvis says, unfortunately, it is impossible to synthesize. The element is. And Tony's just like, okay, gonna find a way to synthesize it, because that's how Tony works.
Yeah.
So he gets all this material and stuff and just builds this long pipe from part of the perimeter of his wall and stuff.
It's like a big pipe, and then it ends up shooting, that little laser.
Yeah, the laser. Because he uses it, and then he uses power to create this.
We did get to see Captain America's shield.
Yes.
And that's what he uses it as like a lift.
Because Agent Coleman shows up, and he's just like, what is this? And the Stark's just like, that's it.
Yeah.
and Coleman's like, what? And he's just like, that's exactly what I need. And then he places it under, like he just doesn't care. Perfect Stark reaction. Because that's something that I mentioned too.
And then the beam that comes out of that destroys a good portion of his house because he's trying to move it to the little.
Yes, it's a great representation to show the energy required.
Yeah.
To be able to make this, like, just completely destroying the work area and then making the new element, like creating the new element to make the new power core for his chess piece. That fortunately works.
Yeah.
So, like, that's.
So then he makes that new element for his suit. His suit, and then he doesn't have time to fully. Jarvis can't fully go over it or something because.
He was like, okay, I need to do some tests and diagnostics and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then, let's see. It kind of cuts away at this point, periodically, or for a short period of time, because Stark tells Jarvis to start creating the new suit.
Oh, yeah.
For the core. And she's like, okay, that's going to take some time. That's a little bit of kind of minor foreshadowing for what's about to happen. Because then it switches scenes to show how much of an immature little piece of shit that Hammer is. Because I was like, I don't like Yvonne, but Hammer is an annoying sack of shit. Because Hammer comes into Yvonne's room. Takes his bird and his shoes and his pillows and just treats him like a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
To basically be like, I'm mad at you. You haven't been doing what I want you to do. It's like, okay, fair, but you're just being an annoying sack of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there are better ways to do this than to just be petty. Like, he's just being so petty, and it's annoying. And then you realize that this is when he's about to head to the expo.
Yeah.
Because now that the expo is about to happen, and because Stark realizes that Hammer is going to be the main part of the expo, he's like, okay, I need this suit now. If you have any diagnostics, do it right fucking now. As he puts the core into his chest.
Yeah.
And so that he can go with the new suit to the expo. And that's what happens there. So then, while Hammer is at the expo, Yvonne starts hacking into shit.
Starts hacking the suits, hacks.
And he calls. Suit. Yes, and he calls
Tony
to basically let him know that this shit is gonna happen. And you see in the scene that the guards are hanging.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize on the first watch that Yvonne just straight up fucking murdered these guards. Because he's got blood on his hands and his face.
It's like, if Hammer was smart at all, he wouldn't, like, Yvonne is going to need more than 2 guards to fucking hold him down.
Exactly. Like, these guards are just straight up fucking murdered.
Yeah.
And, like, I commented that I'm not sure exactly why there's another Stark Expo already after the beginning of the movie. I'm thinking that it's just because a lot of time has passed here.
A lot of time has passed.
Like, in the time of Tony going to make the new element and discovering the element, like, from that point on, like, there's probably a lot of time that is just straight up cut out with no explanation. Because otherwise, Yvonne having made the drones and stuff like that wouldn't make sense either, because there just wouldn't have been time.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a large period of time that is just cut without explanation here. That can be a little bit confusing, admittedly. But either way,
he shows off the drones, says it's like this part's the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the Air Force.
And you have all these drones that are camouflaged, but it's just like, let's camouflage the machines, but give them a big LED strip that you can see from 5 miles away.
Yeah.
And I guess they have a cover or something that can go over them, but like, why have the LED in the first place then? Like, I
make
don't
them
know.
look cool for the presentation, I guess.
I guess something. I don't know. It's weird, but either way, the drones look cool, and then they introduce Rhodes, and then in flies Tony.
And everybody cheers.
Everybody cheers when Tony shows up, and Hammer's just like, "Yeah, okay, part of my presentation. Yeah, I totally meant for that to happen."
Yep.
And then,
of course.
And then Rhodes is just like, "Come on, dude, I'm required to be here. Like, I'm under contract to be here. Please don't make a scene out of this." And then Tony says, "I think he's working with," forget the last name of Yvonne, but he's basically like, "I think he's working with Yvonne," and Rhodes is just like, "Yvonne's alive?"
Yeah.
Let's see. Good grief. These bunches of notes are a little bit too put together. But then, this whole end sequence, this climax, is fucking epic. Because now Yvonne is hacking into everything.
Hacks Rhodey's suit, all the drones, and has it start attacking everything, basically.
To basically pinpoint Stark.
Yeah.
So then Stark's just, and Rhodes is just like, they're targeting you, and Stark, like, Tony's just like, is that you? And Rhodes like, I'm not doing that, it's on autopilot. And Stark's like, okay, and then he flies up into the sky as everything shoots at him.
Yeah.
So then all the drones start to fly after him, and Rhodey's flying after him, and they're just locked onto him because of Yvonne's hacking.
Yeah.
Which, great use of his computer skills, which were a little bit foreshadowed when he hacked into the entire goddamn system.
Yeah.
It's a very great way to introduce, like, War Machine as the character after he had just fought with Tony a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But, like, for War Machine to actually be the War Machine with all the weapons and stuff.
That's pretty good.
Cool introduction, especially since he wasn't with Iron Man yet.
Yeah.
Because Rhodes was helping Tony.
Yeah.
But he couldn't control the suit. So he was just in the suit that was trying to kill fucking Tony.
And so they fight for a little bit. Tony destroys quite a few of this drones by going through that little planet in the middle of
the Stark Expo? Yeah.
And
yeah, it's just like, sorry, dude, I just had to get rid of some of them.
Yeah. And then it ends with Rhodes and Tony together.
Inside another dome?
Inside that dome. And they argue for a minute about who's going to be where.
Yeah, especially since at this point Rhodes still doesn't have control of the suit, so they're still fighting against Rhodes as well.
Well, and that Natalie goes in to go get Ivan.
Yeah, because Natalie and Happy infiltrating this place.
Happy took
fucking
in the time
Black Widow is so badass.
The time it took Happy to defeat that one guy, she had defeated like 10 other guys.
Yeah, or more. And he's like,
I
got him, and then sees all these guys on the ground and one guy like hanging up, and he's just like, oh.
And then Natalie actually takes back access of Rhodes' suit.
Yes.
And then that's where Pepper finds out, because they're all connected. Pepper finds out that Tony was dying.
Yeah, she's like, I just saved your life. And Tony was just like, why, yes, thank you. And then Natalie was just like, how are you holding up? And he's like, well, I'm not dying anymore.
And she's like, wait, you were dying?
And Pepper's just like, you were dying? And Stark was just like, oh, that's you? Yeah, I'm not dying anymore.
And he's like, I would have told you on the plane, but you were too mad at me.
I was going to tell you. And she's like, you were going to tell me? He's like, you didn't let me. And you know what? Fair enough, because Pepper didn't let him say jack diddly shit when he met to see her in the office.
Yeah.
Because I think that he was low-key trying to tell her that. But then she just wouldn't fucking let him say it. But
fair enough.
You gotta love the fucking arguments between those two, though. It's funny, but then
Natalie's
like, Hey, save it for the
Honeymoon,
save it for the honeymoon, she says.
And then, so Rhodes and Tony spend a little bit too much time arguing because then all the drones come down.
Yeah, all the drones come down.
And Rhodes tries using one of the missiles that Hammer had.
Yeah, called the ex-wife.
Yeah, and then it shoots and it just does nothing. And he's like, Tony, what does Tony say?
He says, hammer tech?
Hammer tech, and Rhodes is like,
yeah.
It's like, okay.
Just
Now we know why it
dejected.
don't work.
Yeah, it's just like, hammer tech? Yeah. And then they just fight.
They fight, and then
they fight all of these drones, and
Tony uses the things in his
uses
arm.
like lasers in his like on the top part of his wrists. It's just like you could have opened with that. He's just like, sorry, it's a
one-off thing.
It's a one shot.
Yeah, and then Ivan shows up in his own little suit.
Yes, and this is something that I didn't like so much on the first watch, but liked a little bit more this time. Is at this point now Yvonne is like Obadiah, but Russian.
Yeah.
Because it is basically his own Iron Man suit. And of course, it makes sense. Like, that's the only way that you can compete against an Iron Man, especially two Iron Mans.
Yeah. Well, in this Iron Man suit, his suit has the whips again.
And he still has the whips, so it's still differentiation that I like.
How they defeat him is how they fought each other the first time. Is they
in
use
the mansion, yeah, they use the hands.
So you use that big explosion, and then
all of the suits are rigged to self-destruct.
Yeah.
It's just like, you lose. And then they all go to self-destruct.
It's amazing how quickly he just gets defeated every fucking time he goes.
Yeah, and then he
Tony.
suicide bombs himself.
Yeah. And then
I mean, he's still
Tony
a cool
has
villain regardless.
Yeah, Tony has to rush to save Pepper. And Pepper's a fucking idiot. In this
She's
shit.
just standing,
Like,
staring
you
at this
see-
fucking red, blinking, beeping
And it's
machine
getting
that
quicker.
was hostile. And it's getting... Everybody knows that when you hear beeping that is getting quicker, that is a bomb.
Yeah. I was
And
just
she's
like,
just staring at it, just
she's
like,
just
what the
like-
fuck is this?
and it's like, oh, you're dumb. You're so dumb. Run.
It's like literally do anything but stand there.
Yeah.
And then all of the drones blow up at this point. So now Whiplash is dead.
Mhm.
And all the drones are gone. And then Stark takes Pepper back up onto that one roof, and then they're just fighting, and she tries to resign, and then
Yeah.
they're all going through this, and then they kiss.
Well, she's like, I can't do this anymore. And Tony's like, you can't do this anymore.
Look at me!
Yeah.
And she's just like, I cannot physically take the stress.
And
then
Tony's like, well, what the fuck? Look at me.
yeah. Yeah, and this just this argument that is going on between them. And then they kiss in the end a couple times, and Rose is just sitting there just like, God, you two look like two seals fighting over a grave.
Yeah.
And then he uses a couple one-liners, and oh man, it's so funny, Rose just being here for some reason, even though they would know that he was on the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's funny regardless, like I don't even care. And then Rhodes is just like, yeah, so my car kind of got destroyed and all of that, so I'm going to need your suit for a little bit. And Tony's just like, yeah, no, that's not okay. And Rhodes is just like, that wasn't a question. Then he leaves.
Then, yeah, he takes off.
Yeah. This whole climax, significantly better than the first movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Obadiah it was a little bit underwhelming. It was basically just big Iron Man.
Yeah.
And that was basically it. Which, it was fine.
Yeah, it was alright, but
I definitely like the climax of this better, having War Machine originally being hacked to be attacking Tony and having all the drones, and even though Whiplash gets defeated,
Hammer does get
super early.
arrested. We skipped
Oh
over
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's right.
He does end up getting arrested, and I don't think we ever see him again in the Marvel
I
universe.
wonder, maybe not. We'll
I
find
don't
out.
really know.
Yeah, we'll find out. But either way, oh man! And even though Whiplash gets defeated a little bit early, it's still nice. This climax I still like a lot better than the first one because there's more going on. There's arguably more stakes, especially since now Tony has made that new core,
And
so he's not
actually-
dying anymore.
Yeah, he's
so
gonna
that's
be able
one
to live.
conflict
That was
taken
solved.
care of. So
And then it ends with what was it? That senator that was being.
it ends with well, first it's Fury talking to Stark again with Agent Romanov's report on Stark, and this is hilarious because like it's just like Tony Stark displays compulsive behavior. It's text, and the way that Tony reads is just like textbook narcissism, and then he looks at Fury, he's just like, agreed. It's really good, but he's just like, but wait, and he's just like, final
Iron Man good for the Avengers, Tony Stark not.
Yeah,
he's like, how can I be, included and excluded at the same time?
Yeah, how can you accept me but not accept me?
Yeah.
And then Fury's just like, we're thinking of you as just as an informant or whatever he said. Informant's probably not the right thing, but I don't remember.
But I forgot. But yeah,
it's just like Iron Man for Avengers Initiative. Yes, this throws it down. It's just like that. It's not always just like Tony Stark, not recommended. But how can?
Yeah, it's like. Anyways.
But then Tony's just like, okay, but I need to ask you one favor then. So then they're at the awards, where he and Rhodes get decorated with a couple awards, and the request was for Senator Stern to have to do it, to torture Senator Stern with it. This is not something that I would do. I'm not petty in this way. I would want Senator Stern far away from it. You would want Stern to have to be the one to do that. I would want him to be as far as fucking away as possible.
I'm very petty.
But this is very Tony Stark to just be like, okay, well now Senator Stern is the one doing this. And earlier we see, because this is actually something I forgot to mention, because now this is basically the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was a great end for the movie here. Like, basically all the loose ends from the first two movies are done.
Yeah.
Like, they're all tied up. Like, even Rhodes from the first movie saying, next time, baby, to the Iron Man suit.
Everything's tied up.
These two movies do very good job of setting up stuff and foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And then using that. Like, very good job at that. But earlier when Agent Coleman or whoever from S.H.I.E.L.D. comes in when Tony's building the new reactor or the new core or whatever with the new element.
Yeah.
Synthesizing the new element. The reason that he comes in to do that is to say that he's been dismissed and that he's being sent over to Arizona. You aren't told
New
why.
Mexico, I thought it was. Or Mexico.
Maybe it's New Mexico. Maybe I misremember. It's right there in the southwest.
Yeah.
Of the country in the desert. And you don't know why. He doesn't explain why. But then an end credits scene happens. And Agent Coleman pulls up in the desert to the part of the desert where Iron Man's hammer is. Or Thor's hammer, sorry.
Oh, Thor's hammer, that's right.
Sorry, I
didn't watch that end credit scene. When the credits came on, I was done watching the movie.
Well,
I forget Marvel has end credit scenes, so I just forget to watch it.
Yeah, that and Disney Plus, if you watch a few seconds into the credits, there's a button that shows at the bottom that says to skip credits, and it'll go to the end credit scene.
Oh, okay.
So, but there's an end credit scene. Agent Coleman pulls up in the desert and makes a call that says, yeah, we found it, and it's Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
So now S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to try to recruit Thor, and it's perfect because that's going to be the next episode of the MCU review. I guess we didn't talk about this up front. I should have. Yeah, this is episode 2 of the MCU review. Yeah. We're not doing Incredible Hulk. We don't need to.
No.
I don't feel like spending money on it, and I've never heard anybody ever talk about it ever.
Yeah, it's not.
And apparently it's not a good movie, and it has nothing to do with MCU, so.
I don't care.
Like, it technically exists because of rights and stuff like that, but
yeah. But
so that'll be episode 3 of the MCU review. Will be Thor. That's what's coming next. But when it comes to overall thoughts about this movie, there were some things I liked a lot more about this time. Some things I liked less. Then again, I also had a negative impression of Iron Man 2 the first time that I watched this a couple weeks ago because my internet was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was so bad. I could not watch more than like a minute at a time of this movie for a solid half hour because my internet was just not working. This time I had no problems, thank God.
Yeah, yeah.
It allowed me to just focus on making detailed notes, which I think worked. We got through basically all the important scenes, especially since you watched and were able to remember a lot of the scenes.
Yeah.
So when it comes to overall thoughts, I can't remember what I finally gave Iron Man when we talked about it in that episode. I think I've said 8 out of 10 because it's a fine movie and it's a good
9.
debut.
Yeah.
What would you rate this one?
Definitely a 9.
I would say this one is also 8 out of 10 for me, same as Iron Man 1, but for different reasons. There were, like we said, like with that whole vacation sequence in Europe, really messy. There are a lot of things that are not explained and do not make sense about this whole like middle half hour here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that could have been improved about that. There just aren't enough explanations. But overall, I think the movie is great. It's if nothing else, it is a fantastic and standout sequel. Sorry, a fantastic and standout sequel for the way that it distinguishes itself from the first.
Yeah.
Both in new antagonists and like having Tony killed or be dying because of his technology and stuff, but also because of the way that it introduces a new villain that is a little bit different. Like, it's not just making the same movie.
Yeah.
There are plenty of sequels where at least the first sequel is just like, well, it's playing it too safe. It doesn't take risks. This movie doesn't play it safe in the same way that some of those do. It really sets itself apart to be a different movie.
It does.
And I think I like it more than Iron Man 1 because of that, even though a lot of that middle section is a little bit messy. When it comes right down to it, the first half of Iron Man 1 is better than the first half of Iron Man 2, even though the opening of Iron Man 2 is better than the opening of Iron Man 1.
Right.
But when it comes to the climax of Iron Man 2 is far better than that of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
So if I were to say anything, Iron Man 1 plays it too safe in terms of plot.
Yeah.
And ideas and stuff, which fair enough. But so this one takes risks and distinguishes itself, and I really liked it for that. So,
yeah,
like outside of that messy middle section, I really liked this movie.
I just liked it overall more. I think it was more action that I liked.
Yeah.
And the fact that we already know who Iron Man is now, we don't need to establish
how
he made his suit anymore, and they can focus more on like how to work.
Actually using him.
Yeah.
And I mean, even then, Iron Man in his Iron Man suit being Iron Man still doesn't happen until halfway through this movie either.
Right.
But
we get to see more Tony Stark and not.
Yeah.
I guess, but
you get to see a lot of different sides of stuff because the beginning of Iron Man 1 is setting stuff up, building Iron Man's character, making you know who he is, and introducing everything and stuff. Like the first 50 minutes of that movie, you don't even see Iron Man.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, you technically do because of the suit in the Middle East, but the
iconic Iron Man suit.
So the first movie is doing a lot of introductions type stuff, and like I said, I think I like the first half of the first Iron Man more.
Yeah.
Outside of the cold open, the first half of the first one is really good. Like just introducing the character and stuff. Mm-hmm. They did it in a really good way. Then this movie, there's that middle section that's really messy. The opening, like with the court, the Senate hearing and stuff like that is fantastic. But the climax overall is a lot better. Obadiah was a kind of underwhelming villain in the first movie.
Yeah.
Even though I love Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Whiplash is a little bit underutilized.
Yeah, he's
a little bit of a pushover, especially considering that he should be a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
For knowing how to use the arc reactor technology and stuff. I'm not too upset about it.
No, he played a good role in the movie.
He did, especially as being a kind of a side-by-side antagonist to Tony trying to figure out how to not die from his suit. So those two intermixing is what kind of created a new identity. I've not heard nearly as many good things about Iron Man 3, which is okay because that's not until Phase 2.
True.
So we have a few movies to go through in Phase 1. Let me actually just pull up Disney Plus real quick and look what other movies
I think the next one is Thor, right?
Yeah, the next one is Thor. I think there's 5 movies on Disney Plus for Phase 1. Let's see, Phase 1. Thor, then Captain America, then Avengers. That's right. Captain America comes after Thor in Phase 1.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I'm looking forward to because I remember really liking that. But either way, the next episode will be Thor. Don't know when that will come out. The next episode of the podcast, since this is episode 4, question mark, I'm not sure what episode 4 will be. It will probably either be Star Wars Retrospective number 2 with Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Or it will be a one-off movie with Invisible Man 2020. So it'll be either one of those two.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out then. So
we'll figure it out.
Otherwise, this is the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, because I guess that's a YouTuber thing to say. Otherwise, subscribe to the King Crusoe channel for the podcast and for all of my other stuff that I do. Go to seasonalproductions.com, where I have a bunch of original writing that I do, like my books, my novella that came out last month, which I spent a lot of time trying to catch up on, a historical fiction one that I really liked. short stories and poems, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff on seasonalproductions.com, including backlogs for all of the video content. So if you want to go there and bookmark it for a one-stop shop, that works really well and helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is the end of this episode of the Seasonal Podcast. That's it for this one. I'm Holden.
I'm Lane.
And this has been the Seasonal Podcast.
See ya.